Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. All praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Ayu Puspa Pujiani, an English Education Study Program student from B4 2016 class. I'm happy to have this chance to present my research paper to the Honorable Examiner entitled Teaching Speaking Descriptive Text Using Scientific Approach with ICT. I divided my presentation into 5 parts. First, I will explain introduction, then literature review, next methodology of the research, then I'll move into finding and discussion, and the last part I will discuss about conclusion and suggestion. So let me start my presentation by the introduction, explaining to the background of the research, question of the research, and objective of the research. This background of the research is the birth of the spread of COVID-19 in whole countries in the world has affected all life sectors, industry, economic, even in education has changed dramatically. The Ministry of Education and Culture is currently based on a visual information ready with all scenario, including encouraging online learning for students. It has ties in Apidah Hidayatullah Simawara Fahabutani in 2020. And the third is one application it can be used during online learning is through Zoom meeting. In general, English learning has 4 basic skills that are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Speaking is the important one of 4 skills which has been mastered by the students. It is language itself. It cannot be separated one each other. Widely, people do speaking in public will enable them to explain their interaction with others, share idea, talk, desire, knowledge, and persuade others to their opinion. However, the critical problem that is faced by most students, especially in 7th grade students, is how to able to speak English well, frequently, accurately. In the real situation, there are so many obstacles that prevent students to speak and will make the student become passive learner, like afraid to making mistake in grammar and word order, very limited vocabulary, no ideas to say, and were too comfortable to speak Sundanese as their mother tongue. And the other background of this research is descriptive text. The researchers using descriptive text is to help students can share and tell about what they want because they already made what they want to tell in descriptive text from. So they just speak based on the descriptive text that they made. The researchers interested to use scientific approach that requires students to learn independently. It will be good for teaching speaking. And the researchers use ICT media that requires students to learn English, especially in speaking, more attractive and interesting. Equipping pre-service teacher with technology, skill, and knowledge is now regarded as a vital element of any teacher training program to capacitate the new teacher to meet the educational demands of the 21st century. And the question of the research or the verse is how is the implementation of scenario in teaching speaking descriptive text using the scientific approach with ICT? And the second is what do teacher and students respond toward teaching speaking descriptive text using scientific approach with ICT? And the third is what are the student difficulties in learning speaking skill using scientific approach with ICT? Objective of the research to know the scenario and implementation of teaching speaking descriptive text using scientific approach with ICT, and then to know the teacher and the student responses toward teaching speaking descriptive text using scientific approach with ICT. And the third, to identify the student difficulties in learning speaking skill using the scientific approach with ICT. Next is about the literature review. The first is the definition of speaking. Speaking is one of the 4 skills that the student should master in learning English as a compulsory subject in all levels of education. Fusalam 2014. Based on Brown 2004, as cited in Muhlisin 2019 and Suwandi 2009, say that there indicators in speaking skill. They are grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, fluency, and comprehension. Next is the definition of descriptive text. Descriptive text can describe thing, person, and place around. Yona 2014. The researcher explained to the student about the adjective that can be used to describe a person, such as physical appearance, example height, body, age, hair, face or eyes, or character, example humble, kind or friendly. And the next definition is about the scientific approach. The scientific approach is defined as the process of finding out an information in science, which involves testing the idea by performing experiment and making decision based on the result of analysis. Cited in Zaim 2017 as Longman 2014. The activities of the scientific approach are observing, question, experimenting, associating, and communicating. Next, we talk about the definition of ICT. ICT is information and communication technologies, refer to forms of technology that are used to transmit, process, store, create, display, share, or exchange information by electronic means. Al-Kamel and Cotwell 2018. In this research, the researchers used some the ICT such as Zoom meeting, Orai, Kahoot, SlideShare, PowerPoint, video from YouTube, internet, smartphone, speaker, projector, and laptop. Alright, next we will talk about the previous study in this research. There are 7 previous studies. The first is from Zahro 2019, developing model e-learning media to teach descriptive text writing. A study at 10th grade of SMK NU Ma'arif 1 Semarang in the academic year of 2018-2019. And the second is Prastio and Anwar 2015 in their article entitled Teaching Speaking Using Descriptive Text. The third one is from Pramesti 2015, the title of thesis Developing Scientific Approach-Based English Learning Material for Grade 11. Student of Welding Engineering Department of SMK and 1 Sedayu. The fourth is from Anissa 2017 in her thesis The Scientific Approach for Enhancing Speaking Competence in the EFL Classroom. Next from Puspita 2013 used ICT video as a media in her thesis titled The Use of Video to Improve Student Speaking Ability. And the sixth is from Wahyuni 2014 titled Improving Speaking Skill of the 7th Grade Student of SMP and 1 Melati Sleman through the use of video clip in the academic year of 2013-2014. And the last one is from Ari Guzman in 2013 in her thesis entitled The Use of ICT in the EFL Classroom, Teacher Readiness, Implementation and Challenges. Okay, for the next, we are going to talk about the methodology of the research, the subject and the depth. In this research, for the 14 male of the 7th grade student of one of junior high school in Cimahi on 5th until 8th May 2020. And the method of this research is qualitative method with descriptive qualitative research design. The instrument of this research is observation set, and then the interview, and the last is test. Next, we are going to talk about the finding and discussion. The scenario and implementation is the first teaching learning. This research consists of 3 teaching learning stage. There are pre-activity, main activity, and post-activity. The second is this implementation research is watch video. The student watch video on the first meeting, and the second meeting the student playing a Kahoot game, and the third for the task student using Orai application. And the implementation result is the students were interested and paid full attention to the video and slide share shown by the teacher at the first meeting. However, there was some trouble with the internet connection when using ICT. Therefore, the stage of association and communication did not implemented in the first meeting. And then the student respond to a teaching speaking descriptive text using scientific approach with ICT is the student felt increased their ability to communicate orally in English independently. And the student difficulties toward teaching speaking descriptive text using scientific approach with ICT are the first was student had a limited vocabulary. The second was not all students were able to speak English. Next, let's see the table of the Orai score that the researcher have on the third and the fourth meeting. In the third meeting, as in the table, see that the total score for the student is 916, and in the average is 65.4. And the fourth meeting, the score of Orai of the student were increased on the 1046. It's on the average is 74.7. And the conclusion and suggestion: the implementation of the teaching speaking descriptive text using scientific approach with ICT can help students to learn speaking. It can be seen from the table that students could improve in learning speaking score. I hope my rather rapid explanation was clear. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.